Hello, hi, hey. We're going to discuss the Undercover Brella in SalmonRun today so I can teach you how to get the most out of the weapon and improve at the game. Number 1, the Undercover Brella is a lightweight Brella that on the surface is considered to be the weakest in its class. Its damage is nothing special and it doesn't have a canopy that fires off, but today we're going to discuss why all of what I've mentioned is actually why Undercover has slowly become a very good supportive weapon in SalmonRun. Number 2, before we get into the stats, just to note that I'm going to be referring to the Undercover Brella as UCB from here on out. The UCB has historically suffered with being a poor weapon, especially when compared to other Brellas. It always felt like it was undertuned for SalmonRun.
With friends. F is for friends, you do stuff together. U is for Undercover Umbrella sucks. N is for no. Undercover Umbrella. Down here and up Belarus. Oh man, why do people watch me stream?
However, in Splatoon 3 in May 2023, the UCB got a buff for SalmonRun and honestly, world peace was almost achieved. It got a 25% increase to its maximum damage and a 25% increase to the damage its canopy can inflict. I want to stress that this is the reason why the weapon is now no longer at the bottom of tier lists and sits comfortably in the middle of the pack. Its maximum damage for individual shots is now 150 and the damage the canopy can deal is now 50. When comboing the main weapon with the canopy, you can deal 200 damage very quickly and repetitively. Given that the UCB is the fastest firing Brella and you don't have to worry about firing off its canopy, you'd be surprised how quickly you can now rack up damage. In addition, like all other Brellas, your weapon has the ability to spray its shots. Each individual pellet does a maximum of 30 and a minimum of 25. For its canopy, it has 200 HP and takes 4 seconds to regenerate if it gets broken. It recovers health at 30 HP per second when it's not active or if it's not been destroyed. It takes 10 frames to open the canopy and the first shot fired from human form is 8 frames. The time between consecutive shots is 26 frames. I also want to mention that the UCB is a lightweight weapon. It's fast, ink-efficient and adept at providing bomb spam. It's got a great ink tank that can fire for quite some time before you need to think about refilling. Because you don't have to consider ink management as its canopy doesn't fire off, you're able to be a lot more liberal with your shots, with bombs, with helping with paint and supporting your teammates damaging enemies. Number 3. Like all other Brellas, the UCB only has minor struggles with enemies in the game. Since its buff, it can now 2-shot steelheads, allowing more success with one-cycling them. For bosses that can be damaged with its canopy, you can defeat them quicker by comboing damaging with it and the main weapon. Bosses that have 500 HP can be quickly slayed in 3 shots if you use your canopy to help. The main enemies you'll struggle against with UCB are fish sticks due to its single shots, and any boss that has high HP, like big shots. As the UCB is lightweight, it allows you to spam bombs well and still have ink for your canopy. Important to remember that you may be the best suited to running out for flyfish and stingers. For lessers, you're well equipped to protect yourself should you start to feel overwhelmed. Ensuring your canopy is available is paramount to success with dealing with lessers and should be something to consider before diving in. If your shield is broken, wait until it regenerates until you go in. I also want to stress that for night waves, the UCB can now provide amazing support for lesser management, typically for rush and grillers. For grillers, your canopy will destroy all small fry, allowing you to move across the map safely and to help clear up. And for rush, all chum have 50 HP, allowing you to take aggressive and proactive positions to deal with the majority of chum coming through. You can protect yourself so efficiently during rush now that specials almost feel useless if you have the UCB in the right hands. Number 4. Given that it's technically the weakest Brella and it doesn't pack a powerful punch, you may find it difficult to take a Slayer role with the UCB. It's an interesting weapon, however, because even though it isn't objectively strong on the surface, its shield and lightweight status make it really adept at controlling bosses and being able to move around the map with ease. Given its ability to manage all bosses relatively well and to be able to protect itself when needed and have a good ink tank, it really is worth learning how to use this weapon because it's sort of become a hidden gem that can provide provide really good results. I often find with the UCB that you'll struggle against high HP enemies. Clusters of Cohawks, Big Shots and Drizzlers can be an issue if you're forced to take them out on your own. Realistically, I think this is the UCB's only major weakness and should be something to remember about it. It doesn't have super fast DPS or powerful individual shots like other weapons, so you'll need to make smart decisions about whether to dive into crowds of lessers or take on multiple big shots on your own. Your shield is valuable and it has 200 HP, but if it breaks, then you're left vulnerable and likely to find it tough to work your way out of overwhelming situations if you're not well versed with the weapon. Slightly weaker weapons like the UCB can provide a lot of support for teams, and I think playing supportively with it is generally the way to get the most out of it. It's also worth remembering that sometimes you might have to play in a proactive way that might seem counterintuitive at first. What I mean by that is that killing things earlier on to guarantee safety is oftentimes the best way to maximise a weapon that may struggle in up-close fights. Number 5. The UCB shield is the reason why it's such a good weapon, and it's the key to getting the most out of the weapon overall in SalmonRun. At 50 damage, the canopy becomes a weapon within your main weapon, and I want to argue that learning how to maximise the canopy is the most integral part of learning all Brellas. Because the UCB has continuous fire, you'll likely have the canopy out often. However, utilising tap shots with the UCB instead of holding down ZR allows you to move the canopy in and out at your discretion. This allows you to have more control over the way you use it, the health of it, and ensure that you always have it should you need it for protection. Remember, like all canopies, it can protect you and any of your teammates who stand behind it. Be mindful of being bounced around by enemies when the shield is out. Bosses like Drizzlers, Scrappers and Big Shots will cause you to bounce off them, similar to the way you get bounced back with rollers, and this can send you flying off the map if you're not careful. It's in these situations that you'll need to consider not deploying the shield and tapping ZR to fire, instead of holding it down to continuously shoot, as activation of the shield can cause you to bounce off in another direction. This is something to consider with all Brellas, however the UCB is the only Brella that you can continuously fire with, so being aware of canopy positioning becomes more important. Together, one shot and one canopy hit is 200 damage, so consider whether it's best to have the canopy out for protection or to assist you with damaging enemies. And finally, I just want to add that Brellas are unique in the way that they fire and deal damage, like a sort of shotgun that sprays multiple targets at once. Jumping or shooting upwards with the Brella allows you to shoot higher than you otherwise would, or shoot over enemies, allowing you to take advantage of a bigger AoE spread. It's important to remember this when you're worried about clusters of spawns or you want to hit multiple things at once. I hope this video helps you appreciate the Undercover Brella a bit more. Thanks for watching. Bear in mind that I may have missed some stuff as I try to keep these videos short and snappy to help specifically with free lunch strategy. And when I'm talking about weapon classes, I generally don't include the Grizzco variants unless explicitly mentioned. Like, I'm aware the Grizzco Brella doesn't have a canopy, but I'm not including that in the discussion about Brellas overall here. Anyway, let me know what you think. I'll see you soon.